So I thought I'd have a bit of a chat about shapes of things on the guitar. Shapes of things on the guitar. So the thing that can be really helpful here is when you realize when you're dealing with a whole lot of mystery spaces, really, yeah. So you've got 6 strings, and let's say that we've got 6 times 22. Let's say you got a 22 fret neck. 6 times 22. I'm going to work this out right now. 6 times 22, 132. Potentially 132 mystery spaces right here. But if we utilize shapes, we can really dramatically reduce that number of mystery spaces that we potentially have to deal with here. Yeah. So if we take an octave, we've got an octave shape there, octave shape here, again here, and again here, and again here, and here. Let's say that at least we can find 6 shapes that we can remember, yeah? So we got this as part of that C chord in open position. We got this as part of this C chord here in third position. We got this as part of this C chord here, which is a G bass, a G shape, but you're playing up here or playing the bar to it. So there's 3. We've got one here, which is part of that chord. So there's 4, and we've got one here, which is really part of that chord there, that C shape, C chord, but a D shape. So that's, what do we have? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let's call this another one here, because if I've got a C note here, then I've definitely got a C note here down on this other E string, because both strings have the same name. So if we can remember these shapes here, so here's one, here's another, here's another, here's another, and here's my 2-octave shape. Automatically there, I've reduced 132. I can now divide it by 6 again, because I've got these 6 shapes that I can work with, that I know if that note's a C, then that note's a C. If that note's a C, that note's a C. If that's a C, that's a C. If that's a C, that's a C. So I can reduce that number. Yeah, I can divide it by 6 again, which brings us down to 22 mystery spaces, right? Which is a lot better odds than 132. So learning shapes is really, really helpful, yeah? It's something that really empowers your progress on the guitar, because otherwise there's a lot of kind of stuff going on, between here and here. Now another thing that we can do that's really helpful is that I was working with C, yeah, which is the key that you usually start in when you start working with scales. Now, on the guitar, or in music in general, when you play, if you were to play all the white keys on a piano, then you would be playing in the key of C. And every so often you come to a white key, or rather you'll come to a white key that you have 2 side by side. So there'll be 2 white keys with no black key in between. And those white keys are either going to be B and C or E and F. And we have the same thing on the guitar. Pardon me. Between every other 2 notes, other than B and C and E and F, you're going to have a whole step, which on the guitar is 2 frets distance. So if I went from here, I don't have to fret that note because the nut does it for me, but if I went from here and then went up 1 whole step, 2 frets distance, I'm landing on B, because that's an A. There's open A to B, and there's my C, half step. 2 frets up to D, 2 frets up to E, 1 fret up to F. So there's my half step again. So I had a half step here and a half step here. So this was a B, and that's right before C, and this was an E and an F. So if we can remember, we'll start to look at mapping the fretboard out in terms of octaves. There's shapes that are fairly easy to start to remember, even if you can't play the the complete chord that the shapes come from, and where these little half steps are, because it's the gaps between the notes that matter. Just like it's the gaps between the beats that matter. It's where the beat isn't. It's where the silence is created, or the spacing. So these gaps are really vital, to start to learn. The semitone really defines a lot of the other stuff that's going on around it within a certain key. So these things aren't hard to learn, but you can learn scales, and then you can be confused as to how the scales work, or find them hard to remember, or find it hard to kind of learn the notes that the scales center around. So working with shapes is just something that really helps that along.